What's going on, folks? It's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we've done a live stream on the channel. So, um, different setup. I'm working on it right now, but I figured if I threw an old dingy recliner in the background, that's the key to getting a lot of views. I've seen it from like some big channels. So, but I'm gonna give everybody a little bit to get in here, and I'm gonna record the podcast. So excited for this. Like I said, it's been a while. We used to do live streams like every single week for the podcast. So it's been it's been a while. So let me find this live stream and share it. What's up, Duck Hunter? What's up, Michigan Outdoors? Glad to see some people jumping in here. Is everybody enjoying postseason yet? Hopefully so. I know I got a lot of work, a lot of projects already on the mind for season, so should be a good one. Should be a good off season. There we go. Found the link. What's up, Levi? Appreciate that, man. What's up, Chadwick? Yeah, I put a video out on Chief. I'd put a podcast out on Chief as well, but for those that don't know, here in a minute, I'll say a little bit about it, and then we'll jump into the podcast. But I just want to get this posted in the fellowship real quick. There we go. Got it posted. Everybody's favorite thing in the Facebook group. Go ahead and tag everybody. That's my go-to. Pinned to featured. And I need somebody to run this stuff so I can keep answering questions. But let me get this posted, and I'll be back to reading the chat. Alrighty. And I'm back. Thanks, Luke. What's up, Dad? Alrighty. So, like I said, I'll say a little bit about Chief for those that haven't heard, but he passed away. What was it? Second week of January, from unknown illnesses. So nothing super exciting about that. I don't want to go into the details because I gotta get through this podcast. But I did do a podcast telling the story of it, and I got a YouTube video kind of in memory of him as well, showing some of his best moments. But let's go ahead and jump into the podcast. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop them, and I will do my best when I get to the end of the podcast to hit up as many as I can. So it's been a while since we've done the live stream. I'm pretty excited for it. So, yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Hey guys, I'm Jordan Fromer. I believe in hunting hard, hunting smart, and having a fun time while doing it. And shooting limits, well, that's just the icing on the cake. I revel in the journey just as much as the successes it brings. From ducks to dogs to decoys and guns, we'll be talking tactics, strategies, and what it takes to get the job done. Load up and take aim. This is the Duck Gun Podcast.
What's going on, folks? Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Duck Gun Podcast. I'm Jordan from Duck Gun Chronicles, and we are here for another podcast, and I'm super excited about it. We're doing something that we used to do all the time on the podcast. We used to do it Wednesday nights and have the live stream. So first live stream on the Duck Gun Chronicles YouTube in like over a year, almost probably pushing 2. So excited that we're able to jump on here and talk and chat with you guys, as well as do the podcast all together. So today's podcast topic is going to be best of the season, Chiefs last season. So I'm going to talk about the best moments from the season. I've done this pretty much every year, kind of done a recap in chronological order. Doing it a little different this year. I'm going to do best of. I got like a list of the best moments, best different things that happened during the year, like best decoy, best limit, best hunt, just for an example. So it's going to be cool going over all the crazy things. This has been a crazy season for sure. So I'm definitely excited to jump into that. But before we jump into the meat of the podcast, let's get a quick word from our partners. First off, I'd like to give a big thanks to you guys. You guys are huge for the support on the podcast. As many of you know, I just started a new Patreon group, similar to the one I was doing with Elliot. And just a refresher on that too, to mention, me and Elliot kind of split ways on what we do. I'm no longer in the Patreon group with him. He's no longer on the Duck Gun podcast with me, and I'm no longer doing the hunt stats with him. Completely, what's the right words for it? It was for the best. We both kind of decided on it, and just different directions that we're both heading, lots of projects we're working on, and we both are wishing each other success in everything we do. So there's no hidden drama or angriness or bitterness between each other. We're just cheering for each one of us to be successful in the different things we do. But jumping back to that, I just want to give that update so everybody knows. But jumping back to that, big thanks to you guys. Like I said, we got the Patreon group. Got to give a big thanks to the 2 newest members over there. We got Tim Reynolds and James McMurray. So excited to have you guys as part of the Patreon group, and we're going to keep it rolling. Got some really cool stuff going on with that, as well as we're going to be doing our own hunt giveaway for the channel and the podcast this year. So stay tuned for all that stuff. It's going to be awesome. Also give a big thanks to Onyx. Guys, Onyx is great for the duck hunter. Right there in the palm of your hand, you can see boundaries, you can see private land ownership, you can see all the things you need to see as a hunter. And it's really given me the opportunity to find and acquire more hunting spots than I've ever had before. So definitely check them out, guys. You won't regret it, especially as a duck hunter. It's just almost impossible to do it without. Also like to give a big thanks to Motion Ducks. Guys, Motion Ducks is a great product for those no-wind days. This season, I probably used it more than I ever had before. I went away from using the Mojo, almost felt like it was a crutch, and it was like a test, just running the Motion Ducks as much as possible and the Mojo as few times as possible. And I think they both have their things. I'm not saying never use a Mojo, but it's just eye-opening to me how important it is to have that motion on the water all the time. And on those no-wind days, man, it was like 7 decoys, and we were good to go. We had birds cupping right in. And so I will stand behind that product for as long as I'm a duck hunter, because it's jerk rig on steroids, and it is awesome. So check them out, guys. Use code DuckGun2020 over there, and get your discount and get some more birds cupping into your spread. Also like to give a big thanks to Weatherby. Guys, I've been running the Weatherby 18i this year in the 20 gauge and the 12. It's been awesome. As soon as I shouldered that 20 gauge, I knew it was going to be a great gun for me. I was just on the spot with it all year long, and it was a great waterfowl gun. They've definitely stepped up their game with this new lineup they have over there. They got some new camo as well. I have the new camo on my 12 gauge. It looks awesome. And it's a great waterfowl gun. So jump over there, check those guys out as well. But without further ado, also like to give a big thanks to Final Approach. Guys, Final Approach is the one-stop shop for the duck hunter from camo. I got some camo right behind me on the wall from their waders, decoys. It was what I used all season long, and, it did not fail. So I've been saying it many times. I think my favorite product from them is the waterfowl backpack. It has the gun caddy on the side for those walk-in hunts. I was able to put my tripod on the other side, It's got a big bag, lots of storage. I could put ammo, my cameras, all kinds of stuff. I never felt like I didn't have enough room in that backpack. So check them out, guys. Like I said, one-stop shop for the duck hunter over there at Final Approach. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump on into the podcast for today. Like I said, the topic for today is going to be the best of the year. So different things, different categories, I should say. So the first one I'm going to go with is Decoy of the Year. And I feel like there should be a drum roll or something for each section, but it's just random categories that I came up with. But Decoy of the Year, man, I had probably more birds this year than any other previous year decoying into the set. So this one is actually harder than you'd think. But I'm going to go with the trip where we took the last year's Patreon winner. When we went up on that trip, man, we started off the trip just struggling. The first spot we went to, birds just wouldn't finish right, and there wasn't a lot to be had. The second spot we went to for the evening hunt, there just wasn't a lot of action. We went in there in the evening, we bumped a ton of birds out of there. We tried to get set up, and then as we were setting up, geese were coming in, and we just couldn't quite get finished. And by the time we were set up, they stopped flying, and so then we're on to the next day. Struggled again in the morning, but then we got to that evening hunt, and I mean, we just had a giant flock of mallards cup right in. It was me and Zach, and they just cupped right in, almost as close as you can imagine. And I popped two of them. I think he popped one or two out of that group too. But it was just after being defeated so many times and then having those birds, we're just standing in the cattails, natural hide. That's one of my favorite ways to do it on public land, way up north, UP, Michigan. And it was just one of the coolest decoys you can imagine with those birds coming right in. And it was last minute too. So a buzzer beater, and we finished the hunt. I think with six ducks with birds cupping in just like crazy right at the end of the hunt. So that was definitely awesome. There's many others because we had some great decoys in early teal season out there in the Mississippi River. We had some great decoys on the North Dakota trip. I had some great decoys on the timber hunt on the woods pond late season as well. Ducks coming in icy. So, but it's hard to pick. But something about the mallards cupping in, we called them into a tight hole right in the middle of the cattails, and that number of birds coming in, that one's going to have to take the cake. I think I could go many other ways without really being disappointed, but I think that's the one I'm going to have to go with. So next up, we got the limit of the year. So limit of the year is another hard one because we did have some good limits. We had some limits early season with a bunch of bands, which was pretty unique and pretty cool here with the local guys. We had some limits. Like I said, we had limits in timber, Indiana timber, whatever you want to call it. It's not. It wasn't true timber. I should probably stop saying that. But we had in the timber pond, whatever you want to call it. We had some limits there. We had some limits in the marsh. I had a limit on that decoy from the last category. Yeah, so a lot to pick from, but I'm going to go with the limit of the year was I did a solo hunt with Chief. It's up on the YouTube channel, and it was the first day of our second split, and it was right after we had the cold front of the century come in. And I don't know about you guys in different areas, but where we were at, it's probably the coldest that I can remember in my life. Streams that I'd never seen freeze all the way, froze all the way. We had snow, ice everywhere. And so the birds that were still around were really consolidated to flowing streams and rivers. For whatever reason that day, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get anybody to come with me. I found just a little flock of mallards on this ice hole on the river, and I just knew it was going to be a special hunt. So unfortunately, like I said, either people were busy with other things or they didn't think that the hunt was going to be as good as what I was kind of hoping, which I can be an optimist at time when I scout. But like I said, ice hole, not very many options. And I had like 30, 40 mallards on this little hole. So I walked into it solo by myself, ready to go. And just me and Chief. And we had birds cupping in first light. Had them landing right there in the stream, walking on the ice in front of me at like 10 yards. I did something I normally don't do because I usually try to call the shot. But my efficiency was kind of low on this because I was just letting them land, walk on the ice instead of like shooting them right away. But it was just such a cool scene. Just a pristine, cold morning, nobody else around, and these mallards cupping right in, and me and Chief. So we ended up shooting the limit. Didn't take us too long, and it really was a special hunt, especially because now I know what I know, that he was going to pass away, and not there's nothing I could tell from that hunt that was coming on the horizon. It was only just a couple weeks later, and he'd passed away. So that's one I'm going to hold near and dear to my heart for a long time. Just that solo hunt I got with my buddy out there on the river, watching him work, watching him retrieve, doing. I mean, he had an awesome hunt. Swift current. He'd jump in, swim, jump back up, climb back up on the ice. He's always been kind of acrobatic about being able to climb back on the ice, which was always amazing. Not only to me, to other people that watched him, but just having that hunt where it was me and old Chief, and getting that limit of mallards there on the ice first thing. That one's gonna take the cake for limit of the year. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say take the cake at the end, but there it is. So moving on to the next one, hunt of the year. You think I would have, when I wrote these out, I would pick one, but in my mind I have a few, and then I have to kind of go with my gut on what I feel like is going to be hunt of the year. And this one, I think this one's a little tough. Like I said, we had some really cool ones early season. Just had multiple hunts where we had a bunch of bands, which is unique. I know every year you see that on Facebook. I'm like, oh man, that'd be kind of cool to be part of one. And finally, to have a couple that I was a part of was pretty special. Super cool. Other hunts of the year. I'm trying to think of where I could go with that one, but I do think I'm going to go with that. Hunt of the year, having early season. Everybody's ready to get back into waterfowl season, get back into the swing, and it's no different with me. I'm counting down the days to the beginning of September every single year, and our buddy Devin had been scouting it, and a bunch of birds in it. We actually knew that they had banded local too, so he'd seen some bands, and thought there'd probably been a good chance that they'd been going to that field. So we kind of had our hopes up on that front too. But when it actually happens, there's so many things that can go wrong in a hunt. You can have birds flare, or somebody go on the river and bust the roost. It's opening day, and there's just hunters everywhere, and a lot of things can go wrong, or they could just fly to a different field or a different direction. But everything kind of came through, and we went double wide on the A-frames out there, early field or early season in a silage field. It's you're glad to get done early on those hot early season hunts. But we were able to do it, and one hunt I think we shot 8 mans, and then the next hunt in that same field I think we shot 9. It was just it was bonkers. So I'll give that hunt of the year because it was crazy. Not only that, but it's just when you have a big group of hunters like that, it's not my favorite way to hunt all the time because it's like controlled. You're doing your best to control chaos, right? You got a lot of shooters, a lot of birds coming in. It's really hard to get the shot call right for everybody. But at the same time, it's just super cool, super unique. So I'll definitely take a handful of those every year. And those are awesome. And big shout out to those guys inviting me on those hunts because not my field. So it's really cool to get that opportunity. Now we're going to go with bird of the year. So bird of the year, when I was thinking of it, I had 3 different candidates for this. 3 different candidates for bird of the year. So one of them, guys, we've been waiting forever. Everybody knows that I've been waiting for pintail for many, many years. And this is the year I got one. So you'd think that would be like bird of the year. My only problem with that is that it wasn't plumed at all. I really want one right for the wall, right here behind me. Uh, and it had a sprig. It was mature, but it didn't have any coloration yet because it was in I can't remember if it was the first or second week of October. I think it must have been like the second weekend of October. So um, no coloration, unfortunately, but that was an awesome bird. Bird number two on the list that we're gonna give you all three of them. Bird number two is my dad shot a black duck hen, and I know that was a special bird for him, and that was on Chief's last hunt ever. So those kind of things combined make it a good candidate for the last bird of the year. He's getting it mounted too, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, that's a really cool bird right there, late season with some real nice, fat, mature late season mallards to boot. So that one, I know a lot of people shoot black ducks on the Atlantic Flyway, but we don't get very many. I think that was the first time I'd ever been a part of one in Indiana. I've been a part of a few out there in Michigan, not too far from us. For whatever reason, we don't get them too often in Indiana. So that was a cool one. For number three, we're gonna go with the third option here was the early season teal. So I went on a early season teal trip to Iowa. So if you're not familiar with the whole story, you're probably like, this is crazy. He's gonna put an early season teal on his list for bird of the year. Was that like blasphemy? But this one was special. But to start from the beginning of the story, I had never been out there. I've done early season teal out there in Kansas with Elliot a few times, couple times I think. I've tried in Indiana. I've shot them. You can get on hunts where it's like first light. The only other, it's same as anywhere in the Mississippi Flyway that I'm aware of, anyways. But you can't shoot till 30 minutes after shooting light, for good reason. In a lot of spots with the number of wood ducks, and I understand that compared to like Kansas, where you can shoot Kansas, Nebraska. I think pretty much everywhere on the Central Flyway they let you shoot at normal duck hunting shooting, which is 30 minutes before sunrise. So with teal, man, that's a real handicap to the Mississippi Flyway, and it kind of hurts on a lot of hunts, especially like I said, where you don't have big numbers. I've been on hunts, man. We had birds buzz around, buzz around, buzz around. Clear bluebird day. I mean, you can see just as plain as day for that whole time. And like, I guess they're hedging for those cloudy days. But I say I understand it, but I wouldn't be opposed to them changing it either. I understand why they said it that way, but if they want to reward hunters that are good at identifying, which when you're early on, and I've had issues early on as well, you can have issues with that identification. So, but I definitely think that if they should reward hunters that are good at it by allowing that 30 minutes before shooting light to allow that shooting. But anyways, I'm going off on a major rabbit trail there. We went to Iowa. I took a couple of my buddies with me, Devin and John, and met some new friends, which I talked to quite a bit now. Tim and Hunter out there in Iowa, the Iowa boys, and we had a great teal season out there. They were scouting, letting me know. I'm always skeptical until you know for sure how it's going to go, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Never done it, but he showed me pictures of other years that they had success, and there was just quite a few birds in the area, and right off the Mississippi River. But I can't remember if it. I think it was the second day. We had an awesome flock come right into the set, and we had four of us. The other two guys, or some of the other guys from the group, were, I think they're scouting for goose hunting or doing some goose hunting. I can't remember, but we split up on that day. But anyways, four of us and the bird right in front of me. I can't remember. We dropped 4 or 5, but I was able to shoot a banded early season blue wing teal. So I'm gonna spit it out. It took me a while to say that. So I think that might be a bird of a lifetime. I don't know. I don't know anybody who's shot 2 banded blue wing teal. I'm sure somebody has somewhere, but I don't expect to shoot another one. So for that reason, that cool experience, that cool hunt, and that banded blue wing teal is bird of the year. So, alrighty, we're gonna go to the next category, and I have the next category as retrieve of the year. So, this one's gonna be jumping back to Chief. And man, over his lifetime, man, he's had so many good retrieves. If there's anything that Chief is known for, it is his great nose. Oh, my light just went out. So I'm going to fix that. And then I guess I'm going to have to edit this out. Huh. All right. Hold on, fellas. Give me a second here. Oh. Guess we're finishing the rest of it without the light. So, anyways, back to it. He's had a ton of great retrieves over his lifetime. Definitely many that I can be proud of him for. And if anything he's known for, it's for having an awesome nose. And he's definitely pulled some birds out of there that, we thought there's no chance of us retrieving. And he'd go in there, he'd get real birdie, he'd get on the scent, and sure enough, he'd find them. So we had one in that late season hunt where Dad shot his black duck, and this old hen swam to the other side. We thought we lost her for a minute there, and she was on the ice on the other side. And I was trying to tell Chief to go a different way, and he knew where the bird was. I didn't know that he knew, and he he went right down into the roots of that tree, that old tree that tipped out of there, and got in there and pulled that bird out. So that was a super cool retrieve from him. And we had another one where I sailed a wood duck. This was back to the Iowa trip. Second Iowa trip. I took 2 out there, one for the early teal and one for the central teal opener. And anyways, I sailed a wood duck across this little pond on the first day, second evening. We didn't have our limits, so we went out to a wood duck hole. But man, I sailed one, and I thought, man, I was mad at myself because I just was a little off on my shots for that hunt. And so a couple of them I just peppered, and they didn't go straight down. So this one sailed, and it sailed far into the woods, and sent Chief over there. I started walking over there. I'm walking as careful as I can because I'm trying not to go over my waders. The water's right to the top, and Chief is going on this bird that sailed, 60, 70, 80 yards into waist high, tall grass into the woods. Like you couldn't even see where it landed. But anyways, he followed that mark perfect, found the bird. It was stone dead. By the time he got back, I was like halfway across this pond. I couldn't believe he'd had that bird. So he definitely had some great retrieves this whole season. So it's really tough for me to put a finger on which one is going to be the retrieve of the year. I think I'm going to go with that one just because of, it kind of adds a lot of the things that he's known for. His mark, his heart, always going after the bird. Like he won't give up. And then just the ability to sniff it out when it's in some thick, crappy stuff. So that was definitely going to be the retriever of the year. So now I think I'd dropped my list when I was looking for the battery for the light. But I know what the next category is, and it is the trip of the year. So um, every year, man, I love to travel more and more. I just love it to get out to different places. Um, I love going up to just to Michigan for the weekend trips. I love going to North Dakota. First time I went out there. So, and I should probably tell you a little bit about that one. So, I went out there with Josh from Outdoor Limits, and it was just me and Josh and our two dogs. Honestly, it was a super cool experience. Just doing that. We did podcasts from the road, from the trip, every single day. And yeah, I would say that our hunting, it was both of our first times in North Dakota. The number of birds was just mind blowing. But we definitely learned quite a few lessons about how to hunt them and where to hunt them and things to look for and things to avoid. Like the first night we went out and we picked the place with the most birds. It had thousands of teal. It had thousands of coots on the water and probably just as many ducks. So a lot of people who have to deal with this all the time probably understand this. And I've only had a handful of hunts where I've dealt with something like that. But you know, we had all the birds that came back. They were just going straight into the raft of coot. So we did get a few here and there. I mean, they just be coming straight at us. Gadwall, I think, mostly on that hunt. But then we had the next day, man, we found just an awesome spot. I knocked on the door, got permission, and it was just loaded with birds. So we got a good variety on that hunt: mallards, bluebill, ringnecks, gadwall. Again, it's just a super cool hunt. But the whole trip was just fun because we're out there freelancing, knocking on doors, public land, private land, and just doing our best to get them birds every day. We're hunting and scouting and doing podcasts and killing birds. So, like I said, I think we could have if we would do it again, like right now with what we learned, we'd end up doing a little better. And then the other thing that got us was when it froze up. So it froze up, changed the bird's pattern, and just takes a little bit more scouting after that, I think, and you can get right back on course. Out there, there's just so many birds. I think we thought that they were going to be gone, and that wasn't the case. So the other trips I went on, the teal trip, like I talked about, first time going up to the Mississippi River, a lot of habitat, a lot of hunters too, but a lot of habitat, a cool experience overall. And I don't even think I said, but on the first day, we shot a 6-man limit, which that was a huge pile of birds. Not what it's all about, but it is cool from time to time to experience a big quantity number of birds killed on a hunt. For sure. I love my solo hunts too, but it was crazy to be able to get on that many birds, and we just did good every day. We didn't 6-man limit every day, but after that, it wasn't the whole crew from Iowa, and it wasn't always the whole crew that we brought there too. We kind of split off different things, whether it's dove or teal, or some people tried to goose hunt. I stuck with the teal, and we did the dove a couple times. The first day, man, we shot a 6-man limit. I believe it was a 6-man. It might have been a 7-man limit of dove as well. So that was just a crazy day. Lots of shells for sure. So next trip we did, I did the trip back for central Iowa. We had some great wood duck hunts. Our first hunt, I shot the pintail and got to hang out with some buddies. So that was definitely a cool trip as well. But what the trip that's going to take the cake, because that's the word choice I'm going to use for everything on this podcast, was the UP opener hunt. So I'd been on a few UP opener hunts, and this is probably the one that I've shot the least birds ever on a UP opener. So it's like, how does that one win the hunt? So I put together a video. It's on the YouTube channel. Took the bus. I met with my buddy Brandon up there. He's been on a couple now with me. And then my dad got to come along. So that's probably the biggest thing, because it's just an adventure. Anytime you go to a wild place, trying to kill wild birds. It's just an adventure. And in the spot, we're camping from the bus, just the whole experience all together. We did the scouting was awesome. We covered a lot of water, found a lot of birds, and then after that, it's first time in that area, and did make some mistakes on it. So lesson to you guys: even if you hunt as much as I do, you're gonna make plenty of mistakes along the way. It's just about learning from it, and it's a long game. Waterfowl season's a long game. It's not about necessarily. It's not necessarily about that one hunt. It's about a lifetime of experience, a lifetime of uh, of of learning and bettering yourself, so that when opportunity arises, you can capitalize on it. But that being said, we just had so much fun just trying different things. We shot a widgeon, which I've shot. That's just the second widgeon I've shot. We shot wood ducks. We shot some teal. I can't remember if we got a mallard. I don't think we did. I was really hoping we'd get a mallard, but it wasn't the case. But oh yeah, and then as far as setting up, I mean, we slept in the boat. We did everything that you'd imagine for um, an opener, except for kill a bunch of ducks. So it was great to get Dad out there and have that full experience. I do wish we would have got some more ducks, because that would have been the icing on the cake for that trip. But that one's going to take it for the trip. And a close runner up would be the Patreon hunt as well. Patreon hunt, I got Elliot out here. We went all the way through Michigan, hunted every single zone on that trip. We just kept hopping zones, and we did end up having a couple good hunts out of it. Even though we kind of split up, we weren't together on the hunts that were successful, which it was fine. It was a group effort. And again, taking the bus, man, the bus is always it's like giving the trip a shot. So that was definitely pretty cool. So yeah, that's a pretty good snapshot of the season. Like I said, it's Chiefs last season, and I'm gonna have lots of memories from it, lots of Chief along the way. And I got a backlog of hunts that I didn't get to edit. This year, one thing that's unique is that there's no late season for me. After Chief passed away, I just wrapped it up for the season. Decided that I couldn't really stomach hunting. I don't want to hunt without a dog, and I don't want to, just hunting that close to not having Chief just didn't seem right. It, yeah, so that was a tough one, and I just decided to sit the whole late season out this year, and I'm not really too upset about it. I think just it wouldn't have been fun to kind of force myself to keep on hunting. But like I said, I have like a backlog of hunts, and it's pretty tough to look back at them, and Chief being in there and trying to edit it. It's just like, man, they only live for a short time, and we gotta do the best we can with that time. And yeah, I don't want to keep going talking about that again, but it's part of hunting. It's part of having a dog, and yeah, got to move on from that. I think I've said all I want to say about the Chief thing right now. But anyways, definitely a memorable hunt. And I did want to talk about my numbers for the season. So I had the best season I've ever had as far as the numbers go on the season. So the total number of waterfowl that I harvest this year was 133. My previous best I've ever had, and that was with an additional 6 weeks of late season, was 129. And I harvested 133 birds this year, that's a crazy number for me to see. And I just want to say too on it, when I'm talking about these numbers, it's just like me keeping my personal stats over there in freelance duck hunting. I know, guys, it's not all about the hunt. It's not all about the numbers. It's about the hunt. It's about the memory. It's about the buddies you hang out with. But as for me, I try to be the best waterfowl hunter I can be. I try to learn as many things as I can be, and I try to hunt as much as I can successfully. So, yeah, that's just my my disclaimer on these numbers. I know it's not about the numbers, and I don't want it to seem like I'm pushing them by by saying them or tooting my own horn. I know there's plenty of hunters that are better than me, and I'm a growing, always improving hunter, and having a better season than I've ever had before is proof of that. So, like I said, 133 waterfowl harvest this year. I did have 4 loss, and that's I feel like that's a pretty low number. I'd have to compare it to other years to see exactly how many I lost in other years. But one side note is it was the least number of geese that I've ever harvested. I harvested 26. Usually geese are a big part of our season here. We get into a lot of Canadas, and that's probably partly because I didn't hunt the last 6 weeks. That gave me a pretty good handful more of the geese. The ones we did get had an early season. The Michigan South Zone opener, we shot limits. Early season silage hunts, we shot limits. So definitely was a large portion of my Canada geese there. Blue wing teal was a big plus this year going to the Mississippi River. When I don't do that, I just don't shoot ducks till early season opener in September when I travel to wherever I'm traveling, usually UP opener. 22 blue wing teals out there on the Mississippi River. I can't remember if I shot anywhere else, but we're out there for 5 days. So definitely some solid numbers for the teal I got on that. Probably shot more gadwall than I ever had before. Shot 5 gadwall, shot 1 green wing teal, and so that's 23 teal. And last year was the only season I ever went through a season and shot 0. So 23, excuse me, up from 0 the previous year. Mallard drakes, I shot 32 and 15 hens. So I don't pick out green. I do when I can. But in our area, it's just like, it's like if we have a flock come in and I can shoot a green one, I do. If a pair comes in and I'm on the left side, my buddy's on the right, and we both don't have our any of our hens or drakes and need to do anything to kind of help each other out, we're just shooting our lanes. And if it's a hen, then it's a hen, right? That's how we hunt in this area, just because we don't have the quantity of birds that these guys out there in the Central Flyway or the Pacific Flyway that are able to pick out green all the time. I'd love to do it. It's a challenge. It's awesome, but most of the time we're doing our best to be scrappy and get our limit. We want them in feet down. Don't get me wrong, and that's our goal. And a lot of the time we do. We get them feet down. But like I said, if it's a solo hen coming in, we're probably shooting it. If it's a pair and we gotta pick our lanes to shoot, we're probably shooting the hen. So, like I said, that's 47 mallards. Most mallards I've personally shot in a year. I got my first pintail drake, 4 ringnecks, a couple bluebill, a couple shovelers, widgeon, and 18 wood ducks on the year as well. So I love those early season wood duck hunts. We got on some good ones out there in Iowa, got on some locally as well. But yeah. And then I only went on 2 dove hunts this year. That's not waterfowl, but one of them was a skunk and one of them was a limit. So we can't get much differentiation between those two. And then 2 hoodies. Had a hunt, I think it was Thanksgiving Day, where we could have shot just an unbelievable amount of hoodies. Just kept decoying right into our decoys. So definitely a little crazy there. But yeah, that's the numbers I have on the season. And again, let's go ahead and take a look at the chat, see what we got from people. Chief was the best. Thanks, Duck Hunter. Definitely, he was a good old boy. He's gonna be dearly missed. And a lot of people saying console. Wow, struggling with my words here, but you guys know what I mean. And Levi says, waiting on the snows. Man, I've never gotten to the snows. Maybe some year I will do it. Michigan Outdoors says pigeons keep me busy during the off season. Used to do that a lot with dog training. I think that's a great tool. So, keep going down the list. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them. If not, we're going to go ahead and sign off. And we got a couple people saying, I love watching Chief. I'm right there with you. Zach Outdoors. This is a live podcast. This is the first live podcast in a long time. So excited to be jumping on here for the combo live stream and podcast. And yeah, maybe we'll make it a thing again. I don't know. We'll see. What's up, Brandon? See you in here. Brandon's my buddy that we I guess we just hunt UP openers together. So and then keeping going down the list. See, making sure we don't got any questions I'm not missing. Alrighty, fellas. Appreciate you jumping on here. We'll remind you again, jump over to the Patreon. Patreon is patreon.com/Duck Gun Chronicles. Lots of cool stuff going on there. These hunts that I was talking about, banked up, they're going to be over there before you know it. I've jumped into them. Like I said, it's a little difficult right now editing them, but I'm going to get on them. I got quite a few, enough to post a couple a month till season rolls around. And not only that, but there's some cool opportunities as well as drawing someone to come on the hunt giveaway for next year. It's just going to be a person from the group. I'm not doing anything extra to that. It's just if you're in the group, and then you get one slot in there to get drawn and come with me on a hunt. I haven't picked what hunt. It'll depend on your schedule as well. If you win, I think the North Dakota one could be cool. Or it could be anything. We could be jumping in the duck bus and heading up to Michigan. It just all depends on what time of the year and what we can make work with the schedules. But without anything else, I think final words. I'm Jordan, Duck Gun Chronicles. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in for another episode of Duck Gun Podcast.